going to be talking with the brand new Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rider, XC2 competitor Craig DeLong. Craig, how's everything going today?
It's going good, man. Just trying to recuperate from the weekend and trying to heal up as fast as I can because we got a race here in a couple of days.
Yeah, so I mean that's not a typical GNCC weekend. I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff going on throughout the year, but how hard is it going back-to-back weekends like this without any time in between, especially your situation switching over with a new team?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes things tough. I mean, on a normal race weekend, in the middle of the year, it's not really a big deal, but Florida's the toughest race all year, and then so going from that into a race, a week later is very difficult. And then my situation is, I don't have a lot of time on new suspension, pretty much a new bike, so the more time that I could get would be really good. But yeah, my body's just not feeling ready to ride yet, so I just kind of got to play it by ear.
Well, I mean, we mentioned that, and I mentioned that in the intro here, but I mean that is the big news lately is that you are making the move over to the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rig, which you've been riding a Husky for several years now. So I mean, first and foremost, congratulations on getting that ride. That's awesome. But did you physically switch bikes? Like, are you on a completely different bike, or did you kind of take your settings and your bikes over with you to the rig? Like, how did that whole switch happen?
Yeah, it was. It's pretty much. I don't want to say it's a new bike because I had good support from Husky when I was on Coastal, and I was getting like factory motors anyways. But like being on their team, like obviously I get their suspension now and like the full package and maybe some better parts. I'm not really sure, but yeah, just a new bike. I mean, like a different frame, new handlebars and stuff like that. And like I got to practice with the stuff for a week before, but a new bike is a new bike, and it kind of feels a little foreign at first, and it took me a little bit to get used to. I mean, riding around the parking lot for 10, 15 minutes before the race, it doesn't really do you too good. So, I mean, it's no excuses though. I mean, I rode enough the week before with the suspension and stuff, so I knew it wasn't going to do anything stupid, and I had some trust in it. So just myself getting used to a new bike, where just new people to work with, and just I don't know, kind of like a whole new new faces and stuff. So, but other than that, everything was really good. The team has been awesome so far, and I really can't complain with working with them and Timmy and Tanner, my mechanic, and Bauer and Blue and Leon, the suspension guy. Like everyone's been really good. Whatever I need, they're there for me, and they get it to me as quick as possible, and I can't ask for any more than that.
Yeah, man. And you mentioned being on the Coastal Racing team. Obviously, you've been over there with Barry and them for years now, and that Coastal Husky team, that's one of the premier like non quote unquote factory teams. But like you said, it's a lot of support coming from Husky, so you had a big support system around you already. What's the difference and I know you haven't had much time with them, first race and everything, but what's the difference mainly between switching from one of the satellite teams to the full-blown factory deal? Like, what's the biggest difference you would say in having that team behind you?
I would say not much of a difference. I mean, like you said, Coastal is, they're for being like I want to say not really a privateer team, but for a privately funded team, like just factory supported. They're very, very good. Great support with sponsors, and anything you need it's really, really good team. But the factory team, it's factory. I mean, you do it right with the right people, and whatever you need, they get it done, and it's yeah, I'd say it's not much of a difference, but just little things here and there that kind of sets them apart from everybody else. Like just if I need suspension change, their overnight means suspension or, tires. I mean, they're whatever I need there. No questions asked, just like, yeah, we got it, like, here you go. And that's just like, I don't know, I'm not talking about on Coastal or anything like that, but it's like just little things here and there that it just sets them apart, and it's, I don't know, I want to say like a little bit of confidence too, because like you're on a factory team, it's just cool because that's what we all dream of when we start riding, like, oh, I want to be a factory racer someday. So, just a cool little confidence thing. So, but no, not much of a change. I mean, with just different people, and that's the biggest thing is just the different people. But I mean, not much of a change really, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. I mean, it's cool to see that Coastal team having so much support and everything to make it not as big of a transition moving into the factory setup. But like you said, it still is a big change. It still is that confidence of having that team behind you, and as you mentioned, getting parts and stuff quicker. But Husky, we typically see that Rockstar rig with 2 riders. Unfortunately, both of their riders are out right now. You step in. Now it's all eyes on you. We're going after Craig DeLong is our guy. We're putting him out there on the bike. You were obviously one of the championship contenders coming into this season and really the favorite to win this XC2 championship. You came off 2 wins to end out the season last year. Do you feel any added pressure now stepping up to that Rockstar team, or is it still the same focus as it was back in January coming into 2020?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as, all winter long is what I've been, looking forward to, and that's been the goal is, to win races and to, eventually get to that championship at the end of the year. So, goal is still the same. I mean, no really added pressure. I mean, this weekend I would say I was a little bit under some pressure just myself, just like you said, being the only guy underneath the tent, obviously bad news, Thad and Trevor out with both knee injuries and stuff like that. And it's, I would really like to have them guys there, with me under there, but it's just, not how it's working out. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess in my case, it is better for me because it's more attention and kind of, helping me get sorted out quicker, I would say, because it's, more attention towards me. So, but yeah, no, like Timmy and, Tanner and them, they're all really good. Like, they're not putting pressure on me, like, hey, you gotta go out there and win. And like, they've all been really good so far, and I can't ask for anything more.
Awesome. I mean, that's really good to hear, and no doubt as you guys work together and get that bike even better, you're going to solidify yourself even more in that XC2 class going forward, and looking forward to seeing that. But going into this past weekend, I mean, Sands of Florida, there's no other race that we raced that's like it. It is probably the roughest and hardest track of the year. It's the first time everyone's really putting in race time in the heat down there and in the humidity. Obviously, it doesn't start your day off well when you don't get a good start. This past weekend, not the best start in the world, but you picked through the pack. I think you were 6th place going through scoring on the first lap, and then slowly just ticked away and made your way up through the pack. What's it like to come from the back like that in such a tough environment that you already know is going to be grueling at the beginning of the race?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not something you want to see, like, when I'm in the back of the pack and, in the open area, you can see, Witowski out front and, him, first or second, it's like he's getting away and I'm back in, like, I think like maybe 15th, in the beginning, like on the beginning of the first lap. So definitely got to fight your way through. And it's like, I don't want to say it's like a panic situation, but it's like you're pushing harder than you want to, especially in the deep and rough sand, like, you want to be up front, kind of, not cruising, but not fighting through the pack either. So, I kind of dug myself a little bit of a hole there in the beginning, and had to make a bunch of passes early. And, I got in the 6th there at the end of the first lap and made a couple more passes. And by the end of the second lap, I could see the leaders, and I was kind of, fourth place, and I could, maybe 10 seconds behind third. And, I was pretty comfortable, but I was still pushing harder than I want to, And, I had to pit, and then had to play a little bit more catch-up to kind of bridge that gap again. And it just played catch-up a little too much in the beginning, and I think I kind of depleted myself more than I wanted to, and kind of hurt me there at the end, I think. Just having that final last push, I kind of just physically, just put it all out there, I guess, at the end, and just wasn't enough to, to bring it in, because me and Mike were battling on the last lap. We went back and forth a couple times, and I would get by him, and, he'd make an effort and get back by me, and I would do the same thing to him. And, 3 miles ago, I was around him in second, and he put in a good charge through a section and got back by me, and I tried to stay with him, and I just kind of fell apart physically, and, he beat me fair and square, and so it was definitely not an easy day for sure, just coming from the back of the pack, and not much of a rest. I was always charging and trying to catch back up. So, a better start would be nice.
Well, this is going to be a really stupid question, but I will never know what it's like to pass any XC2 riders, let alone 11 of them in one lap. When it comes off to the beginning like that, I mean, guys know that you're constantly on the podium, you're battling up front, battling for wins. When you get a bad start like that, does anybody, like, as you're working your way up through there, do they realize that you're giving them pressure and that you might be a little bit faster than them and kind of give you space to get by, or is it still you got to earn every single pass to get through there?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's about 50-50. I mean, sometimes, I will say that when I did get the bad start this weekend, I wasn't very happy, so I was kind of, I was doing whatever I could to get by. I wasn't being super aggressive, like, bang into anybody, but, if I came into a tight turn and I was, coming in hot, I was yelling at them or, revving the bike, making sure they knew I was there, and, hopefully they look over their shoulder and realize, like, hey, like, this guy's got some speed coming, maybe they'll pull over, but for the most case, I was able to squeak around a couple guys, down the whoops. I was a little just probably riding, just, I want to say kind of stupid, but just like blitzing the whoops and just going for it, because you got to get to the front as quick as you can. And it gets a little squirrely sometimes, there's some guys out there, they going for it, but they're, they get a little squirrely sometimes, so it gets a little hairy. But, no, most people are pretty good. There's a couple guys that they really want to race you for everything they got, and it's like, you don't want to be rude and like, hey, man, like, sometimes I lap you, like, you should just pull over, but, they're out there racing too, so you can't really be too, you can't really be too mean to them, so, but, I mean, it's tough. Some races are easier than others, but, it's the same for everybody. Whoever gets a bad start, they've got to fight through the pack too, so, it's all about where you put yourself, and I didn't put myself in a good position, so it's no one to blame but myself,
Man, well, two things. First of all, you kind of, you still rode incredibly well. You still came back from the back of the pack. You still ended up on the podium, getting those points, and, we still got 11 races left, so still an awesome ride. Granted, like you said, start wasn't what you wanted, but you made the most of it for sure. But as you mentioned there, it's kind of that was the reason for my question is you are lapping some of those guys in the race, starting from the same row as them. So that's why I was kind of curious as to how they treated it with you coming up behind them and revving at them, and them realizing that you didn't get the best start. So it's interesting to see that perspective and see what it's like for that. But going back to it, as we mentioned, Florida is kind of a one-off race. There's not another race like it. Looking at the lap times, you actually put down some of the fastest lap times of the entire class, and it's actually once you broke away and you were swapping back and forth with second and third and pushing up towards the front. Do you typically look forward to Florida? Are you good in the sand? Are you confident going into it? Or is it one of those rounds that you approach like, all right, let's just get this one out of the way?
I mean, for sure, I came in pretty confident. I've been staying down here for the last 2 months and, riding in the sand every day. So I expected to be, strong. I really wanted to, because I didn't have a great ride at Big Buck. Not a bad ride, but, I wanted to do better at Big Buck. And, I wanted a little bit of redemption. And so I was coming in like, really wanting to change that around. And yeah, just kind of, I don't know, just not disappointed with my ride. Just 2 months down here in the sand every day, you expect to do a little better. So, but yeah, I'm happy to get through it. Florida's a brutal race, and anytime you can get on the podium is good. So, yeah, I can't really complain too much. But like last year, like I missed the first 3 races with an injury. So right now, I'm happy to be scoring points and being there on the podium. So, and when we get back up home and I can be at my house and sleep in my own bed and stuff like that, I'll be a little more, not comfortable, but, home is home. So, you can't argue with that.
Yeah, kind of back in your own element there. So I definitely see what you mean with that. But you mentioned it just a second ago, and I don't want to keep you too long here, but you were mentioning swapping back and forth on that last lap. You actually came into the white flag lap in second, but for 3 hours long, you and Mike pretty much never lost each other's sight throughout that entire race. And I mean, your first win came back in 2016 at the Penton. Mike was on the podium there, shared the podiums with you before in the past. So, I mean, you guys are no strangers to racing each other. Kind of walk us through that last lap. I know you said that getting worn out and stuff from the beginning, but walk us through that last lap as to what it took to really charge hard and battle, knowing that it was the last half an hour of a 3-hour race.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I mean, it's never easy battling someone on the last lap because they're wanting the same thing too. So, they're not willing to quit. So, it was definitely tough. I was obviously, I think you said second going into the last lap, and it was just one of those things like I make a mistake and choose a bad line, and he'll choose one line, and I was going for the smoother line where he just pounded through the rough line and got by me. I'd just follow him, and it was one of those things like it's a little bit easier to follow sometimes. So like, he was probably doing the same thing off me. Like I get by him, and he was pacing off me and kind of saving some energy. And when he was feeling good, he'd probably go by me, and I was doing the same thing to him. I get in behind him, follow him, pace him, and ride some different lines, see what was good. And I had some spots picked out in my head that I thought I could make a pass, and I did. And, he probably had the same thing, so it worked out. But just like the intensity, like it felt like it doubled and tripled there in the last couple of miles. It was like we were both going for it. And, we were really, really close. We were just, like I said, going for it. So, yeah, it was fun. I mean, if it wasn't so physically demanding, I probably would have had more fun during the race on the last lap. But it was one of those things that was like you're just dying, you're just physically done, and you're just like, man, I just want to be over, like want it to be over, and just laying down, but you can't because you're not done yet. So, but it was fun. I mean, anytime you can battle someone at the end is a good time. So, yeah.
Well, good deal. Well, Craig, I mean, you start the season off 2 third places in XC2, 2 top 10s overall. So strong riding. Looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season go. And once again, I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me here. But no doubt, man, I definitely look forward to seeing you progressing and battling for wins and stuff throughout the season. And I'm excited to see once you get everything tuned in and dialed in with the new team to see really how well you can do going forward in 2020. But I know you mentioned the team and everything before. Is there anybody else you'd like to say thank you to?
Yeah, like the whole Coastal team for, all their support of the last couple of years. And, I can't can't appreciate their help and guidance. You know, for, was Riders Pro, you know, deal like was with them. So they brought me up through, you know, pretty much my whole career so far, and you know, I can't thank them enough through obviously switching teams, and you know, we all had deals signed and sponsors and stuff like that, and it's never easy, you know, making a switch halfway, you know, the beginning of the season. So just appreciate all that, you know, with them dealing with that, and obviously the whole Rockstar Husky team, and Demi and Tanner and Bauer, and you know, everybody over there for, you know, making my switch really easy too. So yeah, so I, you know, I got a lot of sponsors like X Brand and Carry Resources, and you know, some other people that helped me out that have, you know, been there from the beginning. So I can't thank them enough. And yeah, so looking to turn it around here and start clicking off some wins. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, good deal. We got a short week and ready to redeem yourself in just a few days as we go back to Georgia this weekend. Craig, once again, congratulations on the new ride. Congratulations on starting off strong so far this year, and good luck as we move in through the rest of the season.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Yeah.